So there's an indicator that pretty much calls Bitcoin with 100% accuracy. And a lot of you may be thinking it's the Alex indicator. It's Alex himself. And I appreciate you if you think that. But actually, I've got something even better than myself when it comes to predicting Bitcoin. And that is an indicator so special, I should honestly be charging each and every one of you for it. And today we've given it a name, and I call it the ROMI indicator. Now, ROMI, you may be thinking, is that short for ramen? It's actually short for something else. And that's what I call the reverse open mouth influencer indicator. So today, we saw this guy, Elio Trades, come out today and say, opportunities never end in crypto land. If we go bear, even for a short while, I predict a triumphant return of NFTs. And so this is a guy who's just so stupidly bullish out of his mind. Every time there's a dip, he says, buyers will become rich. You'll make 450% in like 3 days and shit. So when you start to see a mega bull actually admit or start to consider something bearish somewhat, okay, that's a time to start getting bullish. So by using the famous ROMI indicator that I've created, right, the reverse open mouth influencer indicator, ROMI indicator for short, I'm going to break down, okay, because that's just one indicator, right? If you guys are, into technical analysis, you're into making predictions, you know that you want to have multiple backing points to your thesis. So this is one of the main parts of my thesis for why it may be time to be getting bullish. But before I tell you to get bullish, or before I show you why it may be time to be bullish, let's first understand that with this pattern, guys, you're likely going to get a drop back down to 51K. Right, so get familiar with this pattern if you don't know it. I've taught you this on this channel many times, and obviously this won't be the last time I show it. But when you have a massive dump, you're always going to have a dead cat bounce, right? So boom, you get the dead cat bounce, and 90% of the time you will retreat and you will go back to retest that low, right? It happens 90% of the time. Watch this, right? I've shown you guys this so many times, right? So look at this, right? You got the massive dump. Dead cat bounce, look, it always comes back down to retest a second time before it can go higher or push lower, right? Let's go through another example. This happens every single time, right? So here, massive dump, comes back down, boom. Okay, this is not the best example because everything's just downtrending right now, right? So I know some of you may be thinking, oh, that doesn't make sense. But let's actually go back up to the top, right? So 69K when we drop from here, right, I've shown you guys this pattern every time, right? So massive dump, always going to dead cat or relief bounce at some point, but it always comes back down to retest, right? Look, massive dump, dead cat bounce. And so you can always, guys, this is such a high probability setup if you're a trader, is you short the dead cat bounce coming out of a massive dump, right? So massive dump, dead cat bounce, short that one in expectation of a retest to the bottom, right? Massive dump, dead cat bounce. What should you expect? In 90% of cases, it will retest the lows. So here it retests the lows and actually breaks lower, right? Massive dump, dead cat bounce, comes back, retests the lows. So this is always a good probability setup, okay? Because usually when coming out of a bottom, right? Let's go look, right? What does it look like to come out of a bottom, guys? And I'm dropping absolute. This is gem, right? What I'm showing you guys, this is massive, right? So look at this, right? This is a bottom. So back at 40K, you can see how we tested the lows 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times, right? That, my friend, is a bottom whenever you can withstand 5 times trying to go lower and then you pump out of there without cooling off, right? So that's what a bottom looks like. You're almost always never just going to touch a bottom and never come back up. You're always going to test that bottom usually at least 2 times. So let's go back to the bottom over here, right, at 29K. Well, this wasn't the first time we touched that bottom, right? We touched that bottom multiple times. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, 5th time, finally, right, after 5 times not being able to go lower, that's when you set the bottom. So you got to realize with these massive dumps, you're almost always going to retest it. So that's what we see happening today, right? Massive dump, dead cat bounce, and what do we expect? We expect a retest back down to that low. So that can look, different. It can look a couple different ways. So it can, first thing, which will oftentimes happen, is you want to use these moving averages, right? The EMAs. And so as long as it's below these EMAs on a 1 hour time frame, typically is the one you really want to be using, then you're pretty much, that's short territory. If it gets above these on the 1 hour time frame, from my experience, that's when you got to be reconsidering, okay, maybe we're not going to get a retest. But for the most part, you can pretty comfortably and with a high probability short the dead cat bounce and expectation that it will come back lower. So, okay, if you short Bitcoin right now, just realize, okay, it can bounce here, it can still bounce here, so you got to have ammo to average into the trade in case it goes against you, but know that you've got probably over 80 to 90% probability you're going to come back down to the bottom and the low. And that's when you find out the truth. That's when you find out if it's the bottom or not. And so going off of my ROMI indicator, remember, if you don't remember what that is, the reverse open mouth influencer indicator, it's when the biggest bulls start to actually have a little bit of doubt in their mind and start to think, holy shit, maybe we are going to go in a bear market. That's when you want to start thinking about getting bullish, right? So this is where, if you're looking to buy the dip, this is where I'd have your eyes set on, is the next time we get down to 51.5K. And by the way, maybe we don't even get down there, but I'm telling you, in 80 to 90% of cases, you will return back down here, and that is what you want to keep your eye out on. So moving on, we got to look at a couple other factors, which is this beautiful, beautiful pattern that I've drawn out far, far in advance to it actually taking place, guys. We can go back to my Twitter, and I called this long, long ago, and I posted this on YouTube and on Twitter. So November 16th, this chart is just too damn beautiful. Going to get this framed in my room and maybe sell it as an NFT if we drop to 52K off this. And so what do you notice about this chart? Boom, I call this. I drew this whenever we were at 60K, okay? And now we're at 52K. So what do you notice? This chart that I drew played out exactly, okay? And so at this point, this is support on the trend line. And so it makes sense that this could very well and easily be the bottom. Why? Because, once again, you have support on this major trend line right here, and that would coincide with a retest of the low, right? So, boom, you get the dead cat bounce, come back down, retest this trend line. If it continues to hold maybe 2, 3, 4 times, that's probably going to be the bottom, okay? That's what I think, in my opinion. And honestly, the reason... I would think that is in combination with the ROMI indicator, right? The reverse open mouth influencer indicator, right? So when you combine the ROMI indicator with the fact that this is a massive trend line of support, with the fact that, okay, typically you're going to go back down and retest the dead cat bounce level, which is around 51,500, which coincides with the trend line, which coincides with the ROMI indicator, this is where you want to be looking to buy the dip. That being said, it still can break lower, right? And so this is where we find out the truth. If Bitcoin can hold multiple times here, that's where it becomes very worthy to start placing a bet on the long side, right? But obviously, if it smashes through, you don't buy that dip. You see what I mean? So it's actually pretty fucking easy to play because we know it's a bottom when it tries to go lower like 6, 5, 4, 3 times and it can't, right? So that's how you play this. So that's how you know whether or not to buy this dip. And that's why I think that this actually has a pretty solid chance of being the bottom when we combine the trend line of support, a double bottom, triple bottom, possible quadruple bottom if we try to continue going lower and we can't, and then the ROMI indicator. So guys, I hope that makes sense, and that's what I'm expecting next in Bitcoin. That being said, in my opinion, the easiest way to play it is wait for it to bottom, hopefully a couple times, right? And I'm not saying it will, right? But I'm just saying, if you're trying to buy this dip right now, the easiest way to play it, in my opinion, is you wait for it to hold, and then you don't try to gamble or risk buying the exact bottom. Okay, don't try to buy the exact bottom. Wait for it to pump out of the bottom. Okay, that's when you want to start getting it, is once it starts pumping out after not being able to go lower. So actually, you want to pay a higher price than you want to at the bottom, because here it's pretty scary. You know what I mean? But once it tries to go lower many times and it starts pumping out of there, if it can pump out of there, that's how you know you got a pretty high probability. And don't worry about buying it after it pumps. Okay, because this is not really buying it after pump. You know what's buying it after a pump was, buying up here. You know what I mean? Or buying the top in gaming cryptos when I just warned everyone not to in my last video, right? Gaming cryptos about to dip prediction. Why I think Bitcoin's going to dip to 47K, right? That's buying the pump. That's fucking buying Bitcoin up here, up here. That's buying Mana and Decentraland and Sandbox up at $6, $4. That's buying the pump. Man, you need to give yourself a pat on the back if you buy the pump coming out of a bottom. You see what I mean? So don't worry. When you're trying to catch the bottom, don't worry about buying the exact bottom. Wait for it to usually pump out of the bottom, right? Let it give you the signals, and that's how you're going to have a high probability of catching the bottom. All right, so guys, I hope that's helpful for you there. And that's my breakdown on Bitcoin. That being said, let's go back to the daily chart here. And I want to show you a couple things here, right? So obviously, we're kind of closer to the bottom of the Bollinger Band, which is bullish overall. It doesn't mean we can't break lower with time. So when I'm looking at the weekly time frame, and we're talking about that 47K target, right? Last video, I put why I think Bitcoin is going to dip to 47K. What you got to realize is this is a moving average, which will change, right? This number, 47,032, will change with time, depending on the price of Bitcoin. So really, when you say 47K, it could be anywhere from 47K to this could literally be the bottom right here. You see what I mean? But that being said, we have, okay, MACD crossing right here. Last time we saw, right, so let's actually take a look at this. Right here, right, on this dip, the MACD was crossing as well, and it failed. Okay, so if you see this happen again, where the MACD is crossing and it's kind of failing to really break lower, that's going to be a good sign that this trend line of support is going to hold right here. Does that make sense? So that's what you're looking out for right now. That being said, you really can't say this looks that bullish. And, in my opinion, right, like I'm giving you an example of how this could turn into the bottom and why it could be the bottom, right? We have three major reasons. I'll repeat them one last time. Trend line of support, right? You've got the ROMI indicator, and you've got, the fact that you're probably going to retest this low just like you always do, okay? And if it can hold that low, right, then you want to look for it to be the bottom. But I'm not saying it's a high probability of being a bottom. I'm in no rush to get in right now, right? I've shown you guys on Twitter. Guys, follow me on Twitter if you haven't already. What did I say days ago? I said Hex and Cash is the way to go right now. See, Hex, Cash, and a tiny bit of ETH for gas fees, right? So, I've kind of, guys, I walk you through my plan. And obviously, if I get bullish again, I will let you know, just like I always have. And, just like, for example, I know I'm known for my bearish calls and everything, but remember this right here. When we came out of this bottom, okay, on this candle, I turned bullish, right? And so everyone kept telling me, right, because we were bearish here, I called, you see this little white line, I called the El Salvador dump the day before it happened, guys. You can go back on the channel and watch that, right? So I'll actually find that video for you and show you here. Okay, well, that's going to take a second. But so you can go back and watch. I called it on this day, September the 6th, 2021. I called the dump the day before it happened. Not to mention, I also called this dump on this candle right here. You can go back and watch that video as well on this channel. See this white line? I called the dump on that candle as well on this channel, right? So I called this dump, I called this dump, and now we've called the dump to 52K. So, like I said, I'm not really in a rush to buy the dip, but I will if it gives me the signs that it's the bottom, which I've just shared with you, right? Which is trying to break lower a few times, it can't, and pumping out of the bottom, right? So that's what I'm looking at there. So stocks got beat up badly, and we had three cryptos that did well today, which is Polygon, Luna, and Atom, Cosmos. Okay, and so in my opinion, this is where I want to give you some alpha if you're a trader. Okay, now if you're just like an investor, someone who doesn't trade, this may not be as cool for you. But if you're a trader, guys, this is some serious alpha in my opinion, is whether the market goes bull or bear, I think Luna is going to drop. Okay, so I would be looking at this if I were you. We're already shorting this right now with my members, and I could show you the profits I'm making right now on this trade. By the way, though, I actually did lose. I lost about $20,000 yesterday shorting Luna. I shorted Luna right here, and I cut my loss here, and that was a $20,000 loss there. But luckily, jump back in today, and let's just say I'm making that $20,000 loss I took yesterday and a lot more. And so, guys, if you want to watch this trade, I'm making a day trading course with a bunch of live trades, because what you'll notice when I post my live trading videos on the channel, my viewership just dumps. Okay, drops off. Look at this. Trading video gets 6,000 views. Trading video gets 6,000 views, right? Any other video, right, like a technical analysis video like I'm doing right now, look, 11,000 views. This one I just released, it's already got 7,000 views. So basically the live trading videos get the worst amount of views. They get the lowest amount of views. And so that's why I'm just going to put together a day trading course for you guys to watch live trades, over-the-shoulder action on how to do these trades and stuff. So guys, that's going to be on crashtrading.com. You don't want to miss that if you're a trader. Okay, that's coming eventually. So it's going to be the best course I've made. So guys, that's my breakdown there of Bitcoin. That's why, at this point, I don't really care if it's the bottom or not, because I've already showed you how I'm positioned. Hex, cash, and a tiny bit of ETH for gas fees. You know what I mean? So if I decide, okay, I think it's the bottom, I'm going to jump in, and I'll let you know. I will let you know probably. So just make sure you subscribe to this channel. And, at the end of the day, I'm probably the only channel, that's been as accurate as we've been. Name another channel that's been this accurate. What I find about other channels is bears are too bearish. They stay bearish and they never flip bullish. And then the bulls, they're so bullish that they never flip bearish. And me, I go both ways. It really doesn't matter to me. And so that's what I think is unique about my channel, is I just call the shit right instead of being married to one side or the other. You know what I mean? Like, I was bullish this whole time up to here, right? I was bullish that whole time. Okay, then, not to mention, I didn't call this 69K top, but I did short this top. And you can actually see that on Twitter. If we go back to whatever this date was, November 10th, November 11th. Guys, let's just go back to my Twitter feed. You'll see I literally shorted that on the day. I shorted the literal top in Bitcoin. We can just go back to November 10th or 11th right here. Yeah, so you can see right here, guys, November 11th, I shorted the literal top in Bitcoin, and I made a $32,000 profit. Okay, like, guys, who else is making these calls in real time on Twitter showing you shit like this? Nobody. So we shorted the literal top, you can see, at 67,493, right? Which the top was at 69,000, but what you got to realize is you average into the short, right? So when I was averaging into the short, it was like here, 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 right? So I shorted the literal top. I just had to average in, right? And so that's why my entry is a little bit lower than the all-time high. And you can see I entered in at 67,493, which I averaged in, right? And I made $32,000 that day. Then after that, I shorted Ethereum the next day, and we made 20,000 bucks on the Ethereum short. And then I shorted Ethereum the day after that, and I made like another 20,000 on Ethereum. And so, guys, I've uploaded these videos on YouTube. I mean, you can watch them, you know what I mean? So just go back and check those out. But remember, these views, the live trading videos, they get the least amount of views. For example, how I made $100,000 in profit in 2 weeks, that only gets 5,500 views. Like, guys, don't ask me why the live trading videos get no views. I don't know why. But, I mean, I guess people rather, I don't know. Don't ask me, you know what I mean? So, guys, that's my breakdown of Bitcoin. If you're looking for a bottom, I'd be looking for it around here, okay? On a retest of 51.5K, that's where you want to look for the bottom. It doesn't mean it will be the bottom, but I would expect a retest. And it's not a guarantee, guys. Nothing is guaranteed, but with this pattern, you have over 80-90% probability you will come back down one more time. So don't be pissed at me if we don't. I'm telling you a fact is like 80 to 90% time, you will come back down at least one more time, right? So that's what I'm looking out for if you're a bull and you want to, nail the bottom, okay? So guys, I've given you the keys in this video. I've given you an honest breakdown and analysis. You've got 3 bullish factors there that I've pointed out that I think are pretty powerful. And guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. So if you did, drop a like, make sure you're subscribed. Follow me on Twitter if you haven't already, @TradingCrashes. And then if you're trying to join in on the action on these trades in our coaching program, guys, make sure you sign up at crashtrading.com. Obviously, we don't have a program that necessarily fits all, right? Because you got to realize this is a coaching program where I work with every single member individually, where you literally get time where I call you, I text you, you literally work individually with me. So clearly I can't work with 100 people at once. And that's why, the requirements is not like, okay, have a $2,000 account and you can get in, okay? Because if the requirements to get in was only $2,000, literally I'd have probably 1,000 members and everyone would want to work with me, and that's just not possible. I can't work with 100 people at once. I can't work with 1,000 people at once. You see what I mean? So that's why, for all the people who ask, Alex, why do I have to have $75,000 to join? Dude, because I can't work with everyone in the whole world. You know what I mean? When I'm actually giving each person individual attention, it's not just alerts. You know, it's actually calling you on the phone and so much more. You know what I mean? So, yeah, guys, join us if you're, you meet the requirements. And guys, I'll try to do my best to keep you up to date as we start to see how things play out and whether that's the bottom or not. But at the end of the day, you know what we expect, some retest, and then obviously this is where I'm going to be coming up with the moment of truth. But yeah, drop back down to 51.5K, and we'll see if we're bullish from there as we let things play out a little. So like I said, I'll keep you up to date. Follow on Twitter. Join the Telegram. Join the coaching program. Whatever you got to do, guys, just make sure you're connected with this channel, and I promise you I will not let you down, or I'll try my best not to. I can only do my best at the end of the day, right, guys? So I'll see you on the next one. Take care. Thank you guys for watching. Bye.